What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It has finished. Leicester 2, AEK Athens 0. And I first want to apologise, say we've not been uploading in a while. Apologies, this is our part-time hobby and we've all just been a bit busy recently. But yeah, just back to the game, finished 2-0. And to be fair, it could have been more. Let's start with the basics. I mean, AEK Athens really didn't turn up and they really didn't put in enough performance where I thought they were going to beat us. I think they had one attempt on target all game. So, or two maybe. So, for me, they weren't good enough to win the game. I'm glad that we're top. We're at the top of our group at the moment, and we're really hopefully going to go on to the last 32. And who do we get? Let me know who you would like in the comments down below. And while you're there, like, subscribe, all that stuff that helps us, and blah blah blah. But yeah, one of the things I wanted to touch on straight away when we started the game was how well we started pressing. We started pressing high and fast, and something that I've not seen in Leicester for quite a while, which is from minute one, we were in the game. We were ready to we're ready to commit to the game. I think one problem, if you look back at the Zoila Hans game where we lost 1-0, was I think almost the egos got too much for us. So at times when we were playing football, it wasn't fluid. We had a lot of players in like Sionchu, Ricardo, and Didi, who we'll get onto in a second as well, who haven't had match fitness. Probably the cold didn't help as well, and it was a bit of a damp squib, to be honest. And then we end up losing the game. I think Brendan Rodgers learned from the mistakes and changed the team a little bit. So I think there was a lot of changes. Obviously, Barnes coming in, Under coming in, Nacho coming in again, looking pretty decent, playing 4 at the back compared to the 5 that we usually play, which I think looked decent. But again, it wasn't too hard to judge because, I mean, I really didn't throw anything at us that were really going to challenge us. I mean, there really wasn't anything in a defensive sense to do. So it was disappointing. But first thing that happened is that we kept pushing them, we kept pressing them. There was some good balls that were put through. I think Dennis Pratt in the first 30 minutes was playing some really good football, kind of playing as that number 10. But him and Tillemans have this really good connection together. So Tillemans a few times was hitting it off to the right-hand side of the goal. Pratt was chasing over and just they were blocking all the shots, which was fine. Under got his goal after 10 minutes, took it fantastically. It was kind of a mistake from that Ajax defender, but again, we need to take it when we have the opportunity, and undertook it. And I'm so glad he's off the mark. I mean, he had the opportunities in the Zoila Hans game to finish it off, didn't quite work out at times. So I think for this one, he took his chances, and you saw the confidence that he had throughout the game, which we will get onto in a second because it will come up later. And then after 2 minutes and 13 seconds, again, Barnes scored with a deflection. However, I want to talk about the Thomas assist because it was something that we've seen before. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say anything too much. However, when Ben Chilwell, when he used to be in the squad, plays on the left and played against Bournemouth at home last season, if you remember, I think we won the game 3-0. And that ball over the top and Vardy lobbed the keeper. That was a similar kind of ball. And something that we saw a lot in this game was Barnes and Thomas's link up. Both of them have come through the academy, one from Syston, one from Councilthorpe. And I thought their link up play was fantastic. Again, partly it was because I weren't there, which will probably be a theme of this. But at the end of the day, you can only beat who's in front of you. And we beat them with consummate ease, to be honest. Barnes was looking fantastic at times, absolutely unplayable. And he was taking players on. He was challenging players. And I thought he was fantastic, to be honest. Same with Under. After he got his goal, I think that was the goal that he really, really deserved and needed because he's been creating chances. He was unlucky against Zoya that he didn't quite convert them. Partly it was because he was hitting them at the keeper and partly because it was just some brilliant saves or they've gone wide or so forth. The fact that he did that and he got that goal and you saw the confidence go out of him. I think there's a player in him that we can all see that he's a great player. There's going to be a great future for him, hopefully at Leicester as well. And that goal is what he needed. Some of the passages of play, I think Leicester put a trick thing up on their Instagram and Facebook showing the trick that he did against Zoya, and it was just fantastic. I mean, we've not seen something like that from a player in quite a while, and the creativity. And especially towards the end of the game, the way they were playing, it was fantastic. They didn't turn up as much in the second half. It was partly because I think they changed their formation, AEK, to kind of deal with Thomas, to deal with Barnes as well. So it meant that more possession was going up to the right-hand side, so it gave Under an opportunity. But overall, I'm really enjoying the way this game turned out, to be honest. It could have been more. I'm glad that we finished top of the group because, fun fact, I don't know if you know, Braga are actually in the same group as Wolves last year. And Braga finished first and Wolves finished second. So that's a good sign coming from us that we've managed to secure the top position. And that would mean a favourable result for us in the last 32, which I'm super looking forward to. Again, who would you like? Let me know below and I'll make sure to respond back to you. So thank you so much. I think one of the things that was really impressive for me was Ndidi. So we've had this whole thing where Mendy has looked fantastic since he's come in for the position of Ndidi and the CDM role that he plays. And you saw how Ndidi and Mendy, even in the same match, they played slightly differently. I think Ndidi is always going to head out over Mendy. However, both of them are really vying for that position, in my opinion. So one of the things I really enjoyed about Ndidi is kind of what we've already known about him. He's really long, he gets his body behind the ball, and the way he plays is kind of as a lone CDM, where you've got people like Tillemans and Pratt that are able to go forward. He goes, lads, I've got this. You go and you sort the rest out. I'm here. With Mendy, he looks more of a player that will sit alongside Tillemans. They will dictate play. They'll play off each other. One will make a run, one will sit back. There's a two-person role rather than Ndidi is a more one-man, I've got this, don't worry about it kind of role. And it worked for him. I'm glad to see him back. 60 minutes under his belt again, looking really good. He looked decent in the Sheffield match as well, which I enjoyed seeing him back. And slowly by one, we'll get these players back into the squad and get playing proper football. But again, it was good seeing Ndidi. Under, the amount of skill we've mentioned has been amazing. One player I want to touch on in particular is Luke Thomas, because it was really hard to choose a man of the match, to be honest. Luke Thomas, for me, would pick out that man of the match. And I know Cengiz underscored and Harvey Barnes scored, and they both had sensational games. However, and I didn't really throw anything at us, but for the age that he's playing and the maturity that he's playing with and the relationship he has with his other players, it's fantastic. And I was so dubious about giving him because his link-up play and his positional awareness was fantastic going forward, because bearing in mind he was playing in a back four. So it meant that him and Justin had to tuck in a little bit more. And it didn't give them the opportunity to go forward as much, but they weren't really challenged at the back too much. So I would give it Thomas. And it's a weird one because part of me was saying Barnes, part of me was saying Under, but for the way that he's come into the squad, and bearing in mind, I think he played his first game against Sheffield United this 2020. So 2020 has been a great year for him. And bearing in mind, he's only started playing, I would say, in May, June. Anybody know in particular? With that Sheffield United game where we won 2-0. Yeah, again, fantastic to see his development. And I'm really thinking that players like him is what the Europa League was for, to kind of develop them, bring them into the proper squad. And I'm really glad that Brendan Rodgers went back to a formation that he knew he could trust and he knew that players could play in. So it was a nice blend. I think Zoya was kind of a roll of the dice, and we got punished for it, because there is no way that you're playing that many teams and you're not going to get that many changes at an away ground. And yes, Zoya weren't amazing, but there was too much change and there was just no flow between them. This team changed, the change of place, the change of formation and stuff was much, much better. I think a big person that we haven't mentioned yet is Yuri Tillemans, because he is the man that everything goes through the center of the park. And he dictates play. He tells people where to go. He coaches people on the pitch. And it is absolutely brilliant to see, because I can't wait to see what he does in the future. The only issue is look at the Zoya game. He didn't even play. He was benched. He was at home. So he was benched by all the way back in England. He was stayed at home because he just needs to rest after the Liverpool performance, and he just looked absolutely knackered. So in that performance, you could just see that everything goes through him. And when he doesn't play such a big role, he plays such a big role in this team that it's unbelievable. One thing I really enjoyed as well is a couple of things actually. Nacho, I think he's hit and miss for me. He's chalk and cheese. Sometimes he comes in, sometimes he doesn't, and it can be annoying. So I'm really glad that I'm that he didn't score, but a couple of opportunities he had which weren't proper opportunities. I think, I don't know if you guys were in the same position as me, but I think he's a great player, and we just can't get something out of him. I've got a feeling he'll be a Kramaric. He'll go to the team and do amazing for other people, but for us in the formation we're playing, it just doesn't seem to work. I don't know what his role is, because at times he plays like that pass, I think in the first half, where he went out to the right, put a beautiful cross in for Barnes, couldn't quite sort his feet out, Barnes, and finish it off. And then he comes off, and then Perez comes on, like for like swap, and instantly, I don't know what you guys thought, but Perez was the better player in that position. He was more aggressive, more dictating play a lot better. He was moving out of the way so that Barnes could move into the centre and have a decent shot on goal. The little things like that Nacho just needs to step up a little bit. Apparently, Brendan Rodgers was saying in his one of his press conferences that he wanted Perez to come out of the squad, be more aggressive, attack more, and that's what he did. And he provided really good link-up play. And to be fair, we could see Perez starting in that number 9 position, because that front three of Perez in the middle, Barnes on one side, Under on the other, is an attacking threat that I'm really excited to see. Because Perez, again, he's played plenty of Premier League football, not just with us, but with Newcastle before. So he's a decent talent. And I think before he joined us, he had 10 assists and 10 goals. So it shows you that he's a decent enough player, and there is a great player in him. And that's the player that we hopefully that can, if Vardy isn't needed or needs to rest like today, he can come in and then just do that brilliantly. There was some brilliant one-touch football that was played, and I can't really speak too much more highly because it was just such a brilliant performance by us. It didn't help that I'll take that back. It wasn't a brilliant performance. It was a good performance. The team that we were up against didn't really challenge us. So I would have thought with the running that we've got now with Brighton, Everton, and then Manchester United as well. So loads of decent teams that we've got in the Premier League, because this is now a done deal and we've finished up with the group. I thought they would have rested a few players. So, for example, when it came to half-time and it looked like there wasn't going to be a threat, I would thought that they would have made changes, for example, to Johnny Evans, because he's going to be playing pretty much every single game because Söyüncü's not fit as well. So I thought they'd take him off, put Morgan on. They ended up taking Fofana off and put in Morgan on after about 10 minutes towards the end, which I thought was a little bit of the wrong move, but I'm kind of nitpicking here because at the end of the day, guys, we've won. We've beaten the team in front of us. We're into the last 32, which is fantastic, and I couldn't be happier. So let me know your thoughts down below. I'll get back to you as many comments as I possibly can, but what a result. I'm going to do a live stream at midday from Monday, if you want to make sure. We've also got a special guest next week, which I'm super excited to announce to you, but we'll save that for next week. So make sure you subscribe for that one. I'm really looking forward to bringing you a couple of previews and stuff, because these games are going to come thick and fast. So there's going to be more content, we promise. Apologies for the lack of uploads, but again, because this is not our full-time jobs or whatever, and because the games are so frequent now, we just haven't got round to it. So make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you so much, and we'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.